Not everything that walks among humankind is necessarily human. Because now, people have started filming beings that are supernatural, mythical, or simply otherworldly. So stay tuned for some of the scariest people ever filmed in real life. The sheer gravity and seriousness of the situation are clear from the look on this woman's face. An Instagram video captured what appears to be a disturbing case of demonic possession in a middle-aged woman. Likely filmed by a family member, the footage shows the entity displaying unsettling, almost childlike behavior, all while draining her physically. The clip cuts off suddenly, leaving her ultimate fate unknown. Struggle of possession. This is probably one of the most disturbing clips you'll see, where a young person can be seen being possessed on camera. A CCTV camera recorded a bizarre moment where a man can be seen influenced by a spirit or a supernatural force. It abruptly makes a snappy attempt to take over, fails at first, until it makes another, much fiercer attempt, until it completely takes over the unsuspecting man, who starts to behave weirdly soon after. Now, judging from the visible body language before and after the possession, it's clear that this could have been the very first attempt on the part of the taking over entity. Unexpected escalation. A man, after having a confrontation with a woman in a grocery store, experienced something very unexpected. The arguing Karen shifted from her original self to a howling loudmouth over winning an argument, where even her face got unusually dark, as if something else was in control of her. Seconds later, she walked away, leaving the source and every bystander shocked and awed.
There's kids in here!
Possessed man stalking. It is unclear if it was the man who was stalking her or the very demon who is in control. A girl was working alone and late at her office when there was a sudden power outage. Being alone in the dark, she started looking around for either an exit or some sort of illumination until this happened. While recording and using her phone light, a tall, unknown man appeared with glowing eyes, staring at her, being only a couple of feet away. Considering that the clip made it to the internet, it is safe to assume that she made out in one piece. Unexpected djinn confrontation. From the moment you step outdoors, you can't always predict who or what might be stalking you. Take this for example. In a video recorded by a man leaving his apartment, he suddenly encountered an unknown figure with completely white, lifeless eyes who began lunging forward. The man's face showed no emotion, only rage, as if something dark and inhuman had taken control of him. The dimly lit stairway, filled with shadows, heightened the unsettling atmosphere, and his sudden movement seemed as though he was about to leap at any unsuspecting victim in his path, leading many viewers to believe he had been possessed by a djinn. Unsuspecting shapeshifting. Sometimes the simplest of tricks tend to reveal a lot of unexpected reality. An unknown source shared this clip after suspecting some of his colleagues to not be human. In the clip, a woman who was unaware that he was recording started to shapeshift by twisting her head around like it was nothing. Now, doing something like this for an actual human being is impossible, proving that this woman was not human, rather something taking the form of one. Ancient Devil's Takeover. A paranormal investigator in New Mexico filmed this in 2016 as he was exploring a shut-down mental health institute, where he encountered something far more than what he bargained for. He came across what he thought to be a girl suffering from some mental illness. At first, the investigator tried talking to it and freeing the girl. But then, as things didn't work out, and the recorder was concerned for his safety, started saying prayers. which immediately got it triggered. Unexplained space clip. When it comes to spaces, it's not just the existence of aliens that's debatable, but also as to other life forms that may exist. This clip was leaked by an anonymous source on TikTok, showing what looks like a zombified man wearing some kind of spacesuit. It looks desperately trying to leave a video message in a language that no human has ever heard of. According to some viewers, they believe this man may be infected and is fast turning into a zombie, while others believe it is some other kind of life form. Do share with us your opinion in the comments. Bubbly Eyes Witch. A disturbing video has recently surfaced online, leaving viewers unsettled. The clip captures a bizarre figure with a very spooky smile, glowing oversized eyes, and a face that appears cracked or melting. Its unsettling appearance has sparked debate, with some suggesting it could be footage from a horror film, while others are convinced it may be something supernatural, perhaps a ghost, or a mysterious recording from the past. The eerie sight has many questioning whether paranormal entities might truly walk among us. Alien driver. While on a drive, a family encountered something deeply unsettling. Their dashboard camera recorded a shocking sight. The driver of a nearby car appeared to have blue skin. It didn't look like paint or a costume, but something entirely unnatural. The family chose not to pursue the vehicle, though many later speculated the figure was an alien in disguise. Authorities were notified, and an investigation was reportedly launched. Was this just a strange coincidence, or silent proof that they're already living among us? Either way, the moment served as a chilling warning. Stay alert, because not everyone is who they seem to be. Functional voodoo magic. This clip was taken in an unknown part of Africa, showing a weird scene of a head figure walking with visible smoke coming out of its collar. According to the source of the video, the man walking next to it happens to be its husband, with both of them having just married. While very little is known about the incident, sources believe the man to have used magic to bring a ghost or spirit in physical form, or make this unknown figure through pure voodoo magic. If you happen to know more about this, feel free to share with us all in the comments section. Randomly glitching. Times like these are what start the rumors of most, if not all, celebs being actually reptilian. A clip of Sofia Vergara, who, while being in the spotlight and giving a speech until, came a moment when things started to get glitchy. Initially, the recorder thought it was his camera or some electromagnetic disturbance, until he saw Sofia herself single-handedly focused on his camera. He shared that it was almost as if she was affecting the quality when she couldn't pretend to be her normal self. The source added that under the cover of camera glitching, part of her eyes and teeth shifted from being normal to not being normal. Alien or Walking Dead. This is either an alien revealing its cover confidently, or a person of interest who died, but then somehow came back to life. A cameraman who was filming at a private gathering in broad daylight noticed the presence of a strange person who had an uncanny appearance. Whilst everyone was busy hugging each other and saying their goodbyes, this one maintained its distance and kept its cover. To get a better look at it, the cameraman zoomed in on it to get a better look. So, what do you think this could be, as it clearly doesn't look to be a human being? Held at bay. This is probably as peaceful as it can get when it comes to directly confronting paranormal entities. A woman who was returning to her home, but for some very weird reason, couldn't make it inside. A spirit or force of some kind was acting against her by holding on to both legs. With much resistance and consistency, she managed to make her way in, until she was dragged back out to square one. Now, one of the only logical explanations here would be that her house is now taken over by a ghost, if this isn't just a single isolated incident. Dramatic supermarket Karen. If there is anything more pointless than arguing with Karen, it's wishing one a blessed day after accidentally bumping into them. A man who was at the checkout of a supermarket after having an encounter with a weird woman who started to howl at him loudly, randomly, and harshly. She even resorted to unreasonably tightening her own scarf around her neck just to look far more intimidating. Finally, she walks away, where her taking deep breaths sounds more like a tired, growling beast. Yanked to the ceiling. A man and a woman were in the midst of arguing until an unseen force shut the door between them and yanked the woman to the ceiling. At one moment, she was at the ceiling, and then in the bathing tub at the second. The man who attempted to help added that he was pushed back with incredible force before the door got shut the second time. The purpose of the recording was to capture any out-of-the-ordinary behavior in the woman who was recovering from a mental illness. Getting possessed in such a state is the last thing she'd want.
Oh shit.
Weird subway passenger. The very behavior, aside from the physical appearance, shows there is nothing normal about this passenger. A New Yorker who was heading home when, on the way, had two funky-looking skateboarders who joined. One of them, who mostly had his head shaved, was randomly screaming. Even if this was some sort of a reaction to the music, it looked too unusual, and the passenger seemed more abnormal than being sane. The very haircut and the choice of dressing say it all. Concert shapeshifting. A lot gets revealed during a concert that is overlooked under the guise of performance. A German rock star singer and leader of Rammstein, Till Lindemann, who, while performing at a concert in Paris in 2017, started to show off more than just talent, as his eyes partially shapeshifted, showing reptilian eyes to the fans. Now, this wasn't some mistaken glitch, but rather something that was done intentionally. Some theorists believe that Lindemann was taken over by the devil. Others believe he invites them for a performance, having the attention of a large audience. Weird humanoid in public. Most imposters usually tend to avoid having their presence noticed in such an exposed environment. This one, however, didn't seem to care. A woman was seen acting very strangely in public, with unusually large eyes that she was shifting along with behavior that seemed far from normal. It started to draw attention from those around her, who became convinced she wasn't human, and everyone started clearing away from her. Some believed she might have been an android, and others claimed she resembled a reptilian. Everyone agreed that something about her felt undeniably off. Demonic family. While filming around her home, a woman captured something truly terrifying on video. It showed several dark, shadowy figures in different sizes who were peacefully sitting in a circle, giving the impression of an entire demonic family. Their manner of sitting gave a body language as if they had taken over the house. The atmosphere was unbearably unsettling, and it was clear that no one, not even the bravest soul, would want to remain there. Overcome with fear for her safety, the woman ultimately made the difficult choice to leave, unable to endure the haunting presence any longer. Door demon. One night, a paranormal investigator had a terrifying encounter while exploring an abandoned house. Sensing an unusual presence behind a door, he cautiously moved closer, only to watch it creak open on its own. What emerged was far worse. A grotesque figure with a massive claw-like hand, long pointed fingers, and a face devoid of eyes, eerily resembling the descriptions of a demon said to prey on humans. In that scary moment, it seemed the investigator himself might be its next target. Paranormal home invasion. A mother walked into a room and was met with a sight straight out of a nightmare. A dark figure standing silently in the corner. Panicked, she switched on the lights, only to find the room empty. How could that be? Just seconds earlier, the figure had been right there. Later, she discovered that someone who once lived in the house had suffered a tragic fate, and ever since, his spirit was said to linger in that very corner each night. It became clear the house wasn't merely haunted, it was marked by something that lingered far beyond the living. Hidden paranormal force. A family began experiencing strange disturbances in their home and decided to call a priest for help. During the ritual, as he sprinkled holy water for protection, something horrifying occurred. The mother's hair was yanked violently by an unseen force. Still, the priest kept praying, aware that confronting the entity directly could only enrage it further. Many believed an evil presence was tied to the house, its anger growing whenever provoked. All that remained was hope that the priest's efforts were enough to finally free the home from whatever haunted it. This clip looks like a scene straight out of The Walking Dead, but nope, it's real. A woman casually sitting on a bus with her feet up. Nothing weird about that, until you see the feet. Gnarly black claws instead of toenails. Skin gray and cracked like it belonged to something not alive or undead. People online completely lost it. Some were convinced she was a witch in disguise. Others thought it was a werewolf mid-transformation, caught slipping in public. Of course, there were a few practical guesses, like a severe skin condition, but even then, it's hard to explain those claws. So what do you think? Creature? Curse? Or just a case of really bad pedicure neglect? Scary man. This bizarre photo was reportedly taken at night on a bus somewhere in San Francisco. While the identity of the photographer remained unknown, one thing was clear. He had serious guts to aim their camera at this man. His bulging, bloodshot eyes and yellowing teeth, which appeared to be gnashing at nothing, gave him a disturbing, almost zombified look. Some claimed he was in a trance or altered state, while others compared him to Boris the Animal from Men in Black. When the image hit the internet, it quickly turned into a meme. While many believed it was real, others insisted it was digitally edited. Three-legged. This one's straight out of a sci-fi story. A driver couldn't believe her eyes when she spotted a man walking around casually.
What the am I looking at?
With 3 legs. Not only that, but all 3 limbs appeared fully functional, defying what you'd expect from a mutation of this kind. Naturally, the internet had a field day. While some shrugged it off as a clever prank or visual trick, others jumped into the deep end with chilling theories. Could this be a shapeshifter stuck in an awkward transformation?
What the am I looking at here?
Not human. This eerie video has been making waves online, and not just for how bizarre it looks. A man stands quietly on the side of a road, but takes a closer look. One of his legs. It's not human. The lower half appears to be that of a goat, complete with a hoof. The rest of him is fully human. Folks online were divided. Some called it CGI. Others weren't so quick to dismiss it, wondering if this was a shapeshifter caught mid-transformation or something not human at all pretending to be. Whatever it was, the footage left people uneasy, still guessing. Lady in red. An Indian bus driver was finishing his route late one night, well past 11 p.m., when he noticed a lone passenger sitting quietly. Feeling uneasy, he called out to her, asking to see her face. What happened next chilled him to the bone. When she finally turned toward him, there was no face, just darkness. Panicked, the driver stopped the bus and immediately called the police. However, when authorities arrived, they were just as baffled as he was. The ghost lady had vanished without a trace and was never seen in the area again. Meat aisle. A guy visiting a Walmart near Detroit at night had one of the strangest encounters imaginable. As he approached the meat section, he noticed a man crouched on the floor. At first, it looked odd, but then he realized the man was eating raw meat straight from the package. The scene was disturbing, his movements eerily animal-like, almost zombie. The clip spread online, sparking theories that this man might not have been entirely human. Others took a darker turn, suggesting the possibility of a strange virus making people behave this way. Whatever the truth, it's not something you expect to see during a grocery run. Cursed gaze.
And you know what? That didn't upset me.
Sorry.
That told me to calm down.
A woman sat in her car when another lady approached and began speaking to her in an unsettling tone. But what truly sent chills down her spine was the woman's appearance. Her eyes looked unnaturally wide, almost bulging from their sockets.
The big ass hoe.
Sorry.
That told me to calm down.
Some online compared her disturbing look to Chucky from Child's Play. It was hard to believe this was normal. While a few suggested she might have suffered from a medical condition, others were convinced there was something darker at play. Perhaps a curse, or even demonic possession. Whatever it was, the brief encounter left the driver shaken and the internet buzzing. Subway possession. A shocking clip recorded inside a subway left people unsettled. A man suddenly threw himself onto the floor, lying on his stomach. He began shaking his head violently, making eerie, rasping sounds, before writhing and crawling forward, his arms stiffly pressed to his sides. Without warning, he stood back up, continuing the strange act while letting out disturbing noises. Commuters around him were clearly alarmed, but no one dared approach, while others whispered about demonic possession, or perhaps something even darker. What do you think was really happening here? Unhinged Karen. While there is no level of escalation that Karen can't be expected to go to, this one overall started to behave as if she were possessed. A bystander who was waiting in a drive-thru queue took notice of a moment where a Karen who was sitting on top of a car bonnet and consistently hitting the windshield. From the level of attention to desperation, the driver who was recording labeled her to be behaving as if she were a zombie, if not mentally disturbed or possessed by a demon. Considering how patient the driver of that vehicle was, they perhaps knew each other, is why this kept going on for as long. Demon in physical form. This may be one of the scariest examples of a demon appearing in physical form, unless it's the result of a ritual or Ouija board session gone wrong. The clip, shared anonymously on TikTok, shows a man seemingly overtaken by a dark force. His eyes bulge gray and enormous, his white ponytail stands on end, and his mouth distorts into something beast-like as the possession unfolds. The clip abruptly ends and further confirms this horror to be true, that which took a toll on the source. Exacerbated takeover. There is always a lot going on at concerts than you'd know or would like to know. This should be a good example. One of the cameras at a Lady Gaga concert caught an alarming moment where, in the midst of the performance, she can be seen taken over completely by a demon, the very moment she loses control of herself and gets wild. The style, makeup, and general appearance look like they were designed for the summoning of the devil into her body to give control to. Devil in play. One of many things that the late Michael Jackson was famous for was his very unique stage performances. Footage that made it on the internet showing the angle of one of his performances that no one had seen before. In the footage, it can be seen that his eyes are completely black, and he does seem to be under the physical influence of a higher and stronger power, almost as if the devil itself were in play. From the choice of use of makeup to the cover of his hat, all is used to cover the appearing devil as in person as possible and in plain disguise. Demon eyes. Either this girl is taken over by a demon, or it's the demon himself that has come down in physical form. A spectator cameraman during a class spotted a woman behaving strangely. Apart from a suspicious body language, there was something very off about her eyes and the way she was staring at the lecturer and the attendees. Her pupils as well would frequently dilate and then return to normal, constricting again. After all, you can never know when things might escalate. Revealing news anchor. Just when this news anchor thought of being under a cover, when in turn was revealing its actual nature. After a live news channel reporting, a zoomed-in version of a clip started to get viral among conspiracy theorists, showing the anchor who had teeth much less like a human and more like a reptile. According to them, the anchor was losing control of its actual self, which led to the accidental reveal of this. It showed tiny yet sharp teeth, which would be very comparable to the teeth set of reptiles and reptilians as well. Church possession. During a local church gathering, a woman suddenly began acting strangely. She swayed side to side, her gaze fixed on something far beyond the human world. Then, out of nowhere, she started laughing that made those around her step back. The priest quickly approached, placing his hand on her head as if performing an exorcism. But instead of calming, her movements grew more violent, her expression more twisted, as though whatever was inside her refused to leave. Some in the room prayed aloud, convinced they were witnessing a genuine possession. Others have since wondered if the girl ever truly recovered, or if the darkness still lingers within her. Porch horror. A man exploring an abandoned property had one of the strangest encounters of his life. As he approached a decaying house, he noticed a figure crouched on all fours on the porch. But the face was the real nightmare. Its grin revealed unnaturally sharp teeth stretching almost to the cheeks, with dark patches surrounding the eyes. The unsettling sight froze him in place. Later, when the clip surfaced online, opinions split sharply. Some argued it had to be a person in an elaborate costume, while others insisted it was something far more sinister, perhaps a creature seeking shelter in the abandoned home. Hungry demon. At a late-night street food stall, things took a very paranormal turn when a demon appeared, having taken over a young girl, calmly waiting for its order. The face had been distorted in unnatural, bone-bending ways no mask or trick could explain. Onlookers froze in shock. Some murmured about possession, while others whispered of shapeshifters. For the vendor, the realization was even worse. The customer before him might not have been human at all. In that moment, a simple snack run turned into something far more nightmarish. This left the stall owner and bystanders wondering if this demon was just hungry and reasonable at the same time. Zombie or witch?
Go.
Locking the doors, regardless of whether you're in a car or at home, is a necessity. Here is why. A young woman who was waiting for a friend in her car at a parking lot saw something weird that walked up to her car window. It stared at her for a short while before walking away without being dramatic in any way. Now, considering the appearance of this troubled figure, it looks very similar to a witch, as well as a zombie, leaving its actual nature unclear. What's clear here, though, is that it certainly wouldn't have reacted in this manner had the woman been out, or if the doors were open. Kenneth Copeland mystery.
The blood of this covenant, oh God.
Ever since preacher Kenneth Copeland gained fame, many people have been questioning if he might be possessed by something dark after a strange video of him went viral online. In the clip, his facial expressions, voice, and unsettling laugh have left viewers feeling disturbed and uneasy. And while some say it's just the way he preaches, others believe there might be something more sinister going on behind that smile, as his technique and approach to preaching is extreme, random, and abrupt.
Yes, like Moses of old.
Hospital paranormal activity. A place doesn't need to be abandoned for it to be haunted. Take this hospital as an example. A concerned nurse shared this clip on social media showing one of the patients who looked to be either getting taken over or already possessed by a ghost or supernatural entity. She shared additional clips where her hair, along with the rest of the environment in the hospital, also showed continuous paranormal activity. One of the patient's visitors even reported having seen a demon that was disguising itself in a physical form.
There was a little girl, like I said, no bigger than Sarah. Black hair.
Well, people don't know how big Sarah is.
Sarah's about.
Dark mystery.
But this thing is scary as hell.
A guy driving at night was suddenly caught off guard by someone standing on the side of the road. It appeared to be a man, but his face looked off, not quite human, almost like a mask, but with features too smooth and strange to place. The figure seemed to stare directly at the driver, sending chills down his spine.
Oh, what the f***? Oh, what the f***?
Netizens had theories. One joked he looked like a skin-colored Elmo. Others believed it had to be a mask. But why wear something like that in the middle of nowhere? With no further context and no one coming forward, the clip remained a mystery, and a creepy one at that.
Never seen no one look like this or be like this.
Headless meeting. This guy had to stay overnight at a hospital for treatment, but he got more than just medical care. Late into the night, he heard laughter echoing from outside his room. Curious and a bit unnerved, he peeked into the hallway, then quickly pulled out his phone to record. Two women in white nurse uniforms stood talking, but something was terribly wrong. They had no heads. The video went viral, with netizens split. Some believed these were spirits of nurses who'd once worked and passed away at the hospital. Others floated theories about bizarre experiments or illusions, but skeptics were firm. It had to be a hoax, maybe a prank involving clever costumes, or was it? Grim Reaper sighting. Some places are marked by a dark history, and this hospital was no different. One man decided to check in, unaware of the shocking encounter that awaited him. While lying in bed and pretending to be ill, he noticed a mysterious figure standing beside a patient. This was no ordinary visitor. It was cloaked entirely in black, covered from head to toe, and eerily motionless. The sight resembled the Grim Reaper itself, as if it had come to claim a soul, but ended up caught on camera. Without a doubt, that's an image he won't be forgetting anytime soon. Possession in church? A church, among all the places, may seem to be the safest place from all the devils and demons. But that notion now stands challenged. A churchgoer who was about to leave when something bizarre started to happen when he started recording. Another man who had just walked into the church started to react halfway in, as if he was being possessed by a spirit. Unsure of what was happening or how to deal with it, a woman along with the source, until the effects later wore off. Slipping disguise. A group of friends were having a blast on a pirate ship ride, filming each other. When they reviewed the footage later, the fun quickly turned to fear. For just a split second, something about their third friend didn't look right. Her face, her entire expression twisted into something inhuman. Not a funny grimace or blur, but something unnatural. She didn't remember making that face. The other two hadn't noticed a thing during the ride. Some people chalked it up to motion blur. Others had a more chilling take. They believed her human disguise slipped, and underneath was something else entirely. Hidden in plain sight. The existence of reptilians is often denied with the remark that videos exposing them are made up. This clip from mainstream media, however, challenges that belief. A moment when a news channel was showing a conference of Andrew Cuomo, where something very disturbing was visible out in the open. His face seemed to have swollen up, turning red along with the teeth that looked nothing like human teeth, rather had more resemblance to reptilian teeth. It almost looks like Andrew could barely hold himself together from completely shifting into his original form. Underbed entity. Something terrifying is lurking. So brace yourself. A young girl was playing quietly in her room when a dark hand suddenly crept out from beneath the blankets, seizing her and pulling her under the bed. When her parents rushed in and searched, she was nowhere to be found. It was as if a ghost had been hiding there, or perhaps the entire house was cursed. Some believe homes can cling to dark secrets from the past, and this one clearly carried its own. Sadly, the family hadn't uncovered its history before moving in, and now it might already be too late. Silent front door stalker.
Oh my goodness gracious, what the hell?
A woman spotted something unsettling from inside her home, eyes staring at her from an otherwise empty room. At first, it resembled an animal quietly watching from the shadows, but the longer she looked, the more she realized something wasn't right. It didn't seem like an ordinary creature at all, but perhaps a shapeshifter waiting for the right moment to reveal its true form. Fearing for her safety, she fled the house that very night. Since then, locals have reported seeing the same mysterious being on several occasions. Be careful, no one knows what you might encounter next.
Ain't nobody in the other room.
Kitchen impostor. A kitchen camera recorded a chilling scene. A woman standing completely still, her hands unnaturally long and sharp, resembling deadly blades. The footage quickly spread online, stirring fear and speculation everywhere. Some claimed she was possessed by a dark force, while others suggested she had been replaced by a shapeshifter, a legendary creature said to mimic human form so convincingly that it becomes nearly impossible to know who is real and who is not. Masked fear. A man was filming a peaceful trip to the woods, casually narrating his day while seated inside his parked car. It was meant to be a calm moment, but then he turned his camera to the right, and that's when everything changed. There was someone standing there, still, silent and unnervingly close to the car.
Creepy guy. What do you want?
The figure wore a grotesque mask, too strange to be a prank and too real to dismiss. Despite the terror, the man kept his composure, shouting at the stranger to back off.
Get away from my car!
Without waiting to see what came next, he started the engine and got out of there fast. To this day, no one knows who or what that masked figure was doing alone in the woods. Black-eyed watcher. This has to be one of the most chilling videos out there. A guy was just recording his casual walk down the block. Nothing unusual until he spotted her. A woman just standing on the sidewalk, still, unmoving. At first, she seemed normal, but as he got closer, something wasn't right. Her eyes, completely black, and then her head turned, slowly. Her gaze locked onto him. She didn't move from her spot, but her eyes followed every step. Some said it was a costume, others thought it was a Halloween prank gone too far, but most were convinced she was a witch, waiting for her next victim. Forest fright.
Alright, going randonauting. And it took us to this shady park in the middle of nowhere, so...
If you're faint of heart, maybe skip this one, because that jump scare, absolutely brutal.
What the fuck? Oh my god, is she following us?
A woman had driven out to a quiet forest trail, peaceful, serene, with a little wooden bridge. Seemed like the perfect solo escape, but then she saw a woman in a dress.
Oh, what the f***?
Just standing in the distance. Something about her felt off, and that gut instinct kicked in. The driver turned around, fast, but as she looked back, the woman was right in her face. Without any warning, just inches away. She either ran or materialized. Either way, terrifying. The video cuts out there without any follow-up, and the rest, well, that's the real nightmare. Vampire Alley. A street surveillance camera captured something that looked straight out of myth. Two men were seen walking down a quiet alleyway. Nothing unusual, until the security guard reviewing the footage decided to zoom in. That's when things got strange. The figures had unusually long, pointed ears, dark, sunken eyes, and oddly elongated noses. Their appearance closely resembled the old-school depictions of vampires found in folklore and classic films. Some brushed it off as a Halloween prank or eerie masks, but others weren't so sure. Believers in the paranormal were quick to claim it as real evidence. Vampires casually strolling among us, caught in a rare moment of carelessness. Real or not, the footage was haunting. Night swing. Out for a walk in the quiet countryside, a man stumbled upon something chilling. He'd lived in the area for years and had no neighbors for miles. So who was the figure swinging beneath a tree? It looked like a woman in white, swaying back and forth, but something felt off. It was the middle of the night, and he'd only stepped out because he couldn't sleep. As he moved closer, the figure suddenly turned. Its eyes flashed in the dark. He later shared the encounter online, still shaken. Some think it was just someone playing around, but others aren't so sure. Maybe something darker was watching him that night. Terrifying intruder. A terrified neighbor shared the footage. A woman standing outside, pleading for help, begging someone to save her and her daughter from an unseen monster. But the longer you looked at her, the more wrong she seemed. Her movements were stiff, her features off, like a mask stretched too thin over something else. Some say she was a skinwalker failing to mimic a human. Others went darker, believing she was a cursed cyborg, glitching at the seams. Either way, that's not a door I'm opening. Dancing lady. Have you heard about the legend of the Serbian dancing lady? Her spirit is said to roam at night, dancing and singing. And the people who were said to meet her gaze were never seen again. There have been various sightings of the Serbian dancing lady, and this one is by far the creepiest. This lady in a traditional costume was caught dancing in the middle of a deserted street at night. The cameraman, feeling scared, posted the video on social media looking for answers. The post was flooded with comments all warning the guy not to go near her or look her in the eye, as it could be dangerous. Here's another chilling run-in with the infamous Serbian dancing lady.
Hello? Oh no?
A man's bike ran out of fuel on a deserted road. He spotted a lone woman dancing in the distance. Thinking she might be a local who could help, he called out to her, but the moment she turned, his blood ran cold. She sprinted toward him, unnaturally fast. Somehow, he managed to find shelter and escape. He lived to tell the tale. He'll never call out to strangers at night again. Neither should you. Dancing dread. A guy was cruising down a lonely road when he spotted something bizarre. A woman cloaked in black, dancing eerily in the middle of the street. Instead of driving away like most would, he stopped, got out, even called out to her. Big mistake. The figure slowly turned, face hidden by the cloak, then suddenly grabbed a tool and charged straight at him. He ran, got back in his car and sped off, safe, but shaken. When he posted the clip online, commenters had a chilling theory. He may have encountered the Serbian dancing lady, who some say appears before tragedy, or worse. In guise. A guy visiting his parents in their village decided to take a nostalgic walk through the area he grew up in. While out reminiscing, he noticed two people sitting together on the ground. They looked like a couple, until things took a strange turn. As he got closer, the man suddenly stood up and bolted. Confused, the guy turned to the woman, hoping for answers. He began to follow her. She just walked slowly. Then, as if trying to hide, she stepped behind a tree. The man moved closer to see what she was doing, only to have her turn and reveal a monstrous, non-human face. Some now believe the man had unknowingly stumbled upon a witch mid-lure. Straw dancer. This eerie video making rounds online had many convinced that black magic was real. It showed a bizarre garment made entirely of straw. Unlike the traditional Zangbeto rituals where the straw forms a cone, this one was spread wide like wings, completely hollow in the middle. That's what made it so disturbing. The structure swayed and danced on its own, as if possessed. It was an empty, moving mass of straw with no wires or visible people. Some folks online were certain it was a djinn, summoned through ancient rituals. Others weren't as convinced, suggesting hidden mechanisms or a clever puppet setup. But even skeptics admitted one thing: it moved far too naturally to be just a trick. Aswang encounter.
Bang Anton, jangan terlalu dekat.
In Filipino folklore, the Aswang is a shape-shifting predator, feeding on the weak, feared by many. Two self-proclaimed Aswang hunters claimed they finally found one. In a shaky video, a strange humanoid figure was spotted crouched inside a shed. Two people appeared to be held captive, though oddly, they were unharmed. Moments later, the hunters lured the creature out. It crawled on all fours, with long, tangled gray hair and unsettling movements. One hunter raised her hands, seemingly performing a ritual or exorcism. It was a tense standoff. Human against monster. Some called it a hoax. Others weren't so sure. Sky ritual. A foreign traveler visiting a remote African village was left completely stunned after recording a mysterious ritual. According to him, as the villagers began chanting in unison, something unbelievable happened. One of them started levitating. Slowly, he floated higher and higher until they were suspended well above the ground. And then it got weirder. The floating guy began performing deliberate movements, twisting and flipping midair, like a silent dance in the sky. The cameraman could barely hold his phone steady, whispering in disbelief. Was this an elaborate trick? Some claimed there were hidden wires or camera illusions, but others were convinced this wasn't technology. This was real, ancient African magic caught on tape. Willed open. Last year, a strange video began circulating online, leaving netizens puzzled. It showed a woman standing near a garbage dump, casually making odd hand movements in the air. At first, it looked like she was just playing around, until something unusual happened. As she swept her hand forward, the dump's heavy door suddenly swung open, perfectly in sync with her gesture. The timing was so precise, it didn't feel accidental. Speculation exploded online. Some believed the woman had psychic or telekinetic abilities, using invisible energy to manipulate the door. Others were convinced it was just a bizarre coincidence. Malaysian witch.
There's another one there. Look at what is that?
In Malaysia, a truly spine-chilling scene was captured just outside a hospital. The footage showed a strange woman dressed entirely in white, scaling the side of the building like something straight out of a horror movie. She crawled her way up to the top floor, but then things took a terrifying turn. Once she noticed the camera, she began staring at it, making unsettling, strange gestures, as if she was trapped in some sort of trance. No one really knows what to make of it. Some are convinced this eerie figure was an actual witch, adding an extra layer of mystery to the already creepy footage.
Oh, hell no. That's crazy.
Midnight ballet.
What the hell? Yo, what the hell is that?
It started as just a fun night out. A group of friends spotted something odd on the road. Looked like a basket, maybe. Curious, they pulled over to check it out. That's when things took a creepy turn. Out of nowhere, a figure appeared. A woman in a ballerina dress, standing on tiptoes with her head tilted unnaturally to the side. She didn't move at first. Then, slowly, she glided behind a nearby building and vanished. Some said it was just a prank. Others swore it was the ghost of a dancer who passed away rehearsing nearby, still dancing in the dark. Unholy reveal. A woman had long suspected that one of her friends wasn't entirely human. To confirm her suspicions, she quietly began recording during a group prayer session. What she captured sent shivers down her spine. Mid-prayer, the friend turned to the person beside her and opened her mouth wider than any human possibly could, revealing rows of sharp, unnatural teeth. The sight was terrifying. The woman froze, realizing her worst fear was real. But then, the friend seemed to sense she was being watched. She turned back slowly and resumed praying as if nothing had happened. The video left people stunned. Was she a shapeshifter? A demon in disguise? Whatever it was, one thing was clear. Something wasn't right. Strange TV gestures. Most gestures that we get to see on the TV are instantly understood. However, that is not always the case. A football referee who, the moment he got onto a camera, started to give out gestures with no clear meaning to them. From the unusual eye signals on camera to the random hand signs, almost as if it were a coded message that could only be understood by a few. While most viewers didn't understand them, others connected them to be relevant to the secret society, better known as the Illuminati. Large-headed humanoid. Alien, reptilian, or a shapeshifter? Judging by the size of the head, this could be anything other than a humanoid. A clip that was taken at some secret private gathering where this entity with a gigantic head was seen. Now, it wasn't just the size of the head here that was abnormal, but also its facial structure and the ears. It was covered back and forth by several bodyguards, marking the importance and sensitivity. Hung over tree. A family set out for a picnic, happily driving along and recording the scenic view ahead. Everything appeared perfectly normal, but when they reviewed the footage later, they were stunned to spot a figure in a white robe hanging motionless from a tree. The eerie sight resembled a ghost or a wandering spirit, and the unsettling discovery quickly convinced them not to return by the same road. Definitely the right choice, as no one wants to risk crossing paths with something that strange. Hallway shift. A strange video has been circulating online, leaving many questioning whether skinwalkers might actually be real. Surveillance footage from a hotel showed a waitress walking down the hallway when she suddenly slipped and fell. But at the very moment she hit the floor, her body appeared to morph into a dog. The bizarre transformation stunned netizens, with some insisting it was a skinwalker caught in the act. Others weren't so sure, debating whether it could be a clever edit or camera glitch. Either way, the unsettling thought lingers. You never truly know if the person beside you is human. Field stalker. Zombie virus might just be more than fiction, and what this guy filmed in a remote field felt like a chilling preview. While admiring the sunset, he spotted a lone silhouette in the distance. Zooming in, the figure's movements were unnatural, stumbling as if its body wasn't its own, mouth hanging open. The eerie gait sent shivers online, with some convinced this was a real zombie caught on camera, and that they might soon come for us. Others argued it could have been a disoriented person or an elaborate hoax. Still, the haunting image left everyone wondering what exactly was roaming that field. Bone beggar. A homeowner's security camera captured footage that left him certain a skinwalker had entered his home. In the clip, a man wandered into the garage, then suddenly dropped to all fours, eerily asking for a bone. The bizarre sight sent the homeowner into a panic. Some online brushed it off as a prank, while others suspected the man might have been under the influence of something far stronger. But a few couldn't shake the unsettling possibility that this was no ordinary intruder at all. Skinwalker stare. This video has been terrifying people, and for good reason. A man filmed himself alone in his room, though the reason for the recording remains unclear. At first glance, he appeared unusually tall. Maybe just a camera trick, or maybe not. Then he lowered his upper body, staring blankly into the lens, before breaking into a slow, unsettling smile. The lifeless expression, the bizarre posture. It was enough to send shivers down anyone's spine. Some called him a dangerous sociopath. Others were convinced this was no human at all, but a skinwalker with a hidden agenda. What do you believe? Midnight intruder. A guy had just settled into bed after a long day when his door creaked open. An old, unsettling face peeked in. Someone crouched low to the floor. The figure waved before vanishing, only to reappear standing, exhaling some kind of smoke and waving again. Then it slipped behind the doorway. The real terror came moments later. The man entered the room and lunged onto the bed. Panicked, the victim bolted, sprinting out with the eerie old man chasing close behind. Whoever or whatever it was, the man lived to post the footage, likely reporting the intruder, if it was human at all. Window lurker. A man working late heard a noise outside his window. Pulling the blinds, he was met with a jump scare. A pale, ghostly face, hollow black sockets, a frozen grin, suddenly pressed against the glass. The clip ended abruptly, leaving the rest a mystery. The uploader was convinced this wasn't a normal person, but a creature of the dark. Some say it was just a masked prankster, but it's a good reminder. Maybe don't check your blinds at night. Backbend. A couple of friends were hanging out when they spotted a strange woman on the street. Her back was bent unnaturally, yet she walked as if nothing was wrong, speaking on the phone. Then, without warning, she began moving backward in the same twisted posture, stumbling as though on a slope. People nearby stopped and stared, unsettled by her bizarre movements. The footage quickly spread online, while others were convinced she was possessed by something far darker. Whatever it was, her unsettling backward march left a lasting chill on everyone who saw it. Let me in. One of the trail cameras deep in the Appalachian Mountains, mounted outside a family hut, caught a chilling sight. Someone entering the backyard in the middle of the night. For nearly 10 minutes, the woman wandered slowly around the house. When people online doubted the story, the homeowner filmed her again as she returned to the property. Then one night, the home surveillance camera caught her lurking in the yard, shouting to be let in. But when the owner opened the door and shone a flashlight on her, she covered her face and backed away. Many believed she was one of the feral people long rumored to live in the Appalachian wilderness. Unstoppable force. Take a look at this clip that has people believing in superhuman abilities. A woman was crossing the road when a car suddenly crashed into her, but instead of injuring her, the vehicle crumpled at the front as it hit her leg. She remained completely unharmed. The strangest part was that she didn't even flinch and just kept walking like nothing happened, not even glancing back at the wreck. People online are torn between calling it a hoax, a miracle, or proof of something far more suspicious. Midnight encounter. A man was out for a walk but instantly regretted it when he saw this. In the distance, in a completely deserted area, stood a woman dressed in white, hair hanging down, standing perfectly still in the middle of the street. Not exactly the kind of thing you want to run into at night. He even claimed she was barefoot, which made it even stranger. Who in their right mind would do that? Many online believed it was a witch, or worse, La Llorona herself, caught on camera. Scary intruder. A Ring doorbell captured a woman and her daughter rushing inside, clearly in a hurry. Moments later, a man appeared in the hallway, acting incredibly strange. He wandered in circles, scratching his head repeatedly, muttering to himself, or maybe to something unseen. He seemed disoriented, almost unaware of where he was. The woman shouted at him to leave, warning that police were on the way, but he didn't react, just kept stumbling around.
This the last time I'm gonna tell you, get out front of my door right now. The police on the way.
Some people were convinced he was possessed. It was a chilling sight to witness outside your own home. Strange woman. A man was walking home along a deserted road when he spotted a woman sitting in the middle of the street. Thinking she might need help, he cautiously approached, but then she turned around. Her face was an unnatural shade of orange, her hair wild and tangled, and her movements erratic, almost inhuman. It was like something had possessed her. Some online claimed he had stumbled upon a witch trying to terrify him, while skeptics argued it was just someone in a mask pulling a twisted prank. Either way, that's the kind of encounter you never want to have in the dead of night. White Watcher. Imagine waking up in the middle of the night for a glass of water, only to think you're still dreaming. That's what happened to one man who, through a glass panel, spotted something unsettling. In one of the rooms sat a figure robed entirely in white, its face just as pale, with glasses perched neatly on it. It sat motionless in a chair, completely still, almost like it was waiting. The man froze, unsure if he was looking at a prank, a costumed stranger, or something far stranger. Online, many believed it was an otherworldly being, something we don't even have a name for yet. Ceiling Watcher. A late-night urban exploration turned into pure nightmare fuel. While roaming an abandoned building, the man pointed his camera up at a rusty ladder, curious where it led. That's when he saw it. Someone peeking down at him. The glimpse was brief, but unforgettable. A pale face, glowing eyes, and an unnervingly wide smile. It felt ripped straight out of a horror movie. Heart racing, he bolted out of there without looking back. Maybe it was a creepy mask, or maybe it wasn't human at all. Either way, that image burned itself into his mind. So next time adventure calls after dark, think twice. TV transformation. A woman showing off her talent on a TV show suddenly became the talk of the town because what happened next was unbelievable. As she bent down and placed her hands under the light in front of her, something shocking happened. She transformed into a child, a little girl, standing right where the woman had been seconds ago. The audience froze, stunned, trying to process what they had just witnessed. Was it an elaborate trick, clever editing, or did they just watch real magic unfold live on air? Still man. A homeowner's security camera caught something deeply unsettling. A man standing in the driveway, facing away, completely still. Not a single movement for the entire clip. According to the homeowner, this wasn't the first time. The same man had been appearing at night, just standing there. Some say it's a mental health issue and a clear reason to call the police. Others believe it's something far darker, like he's not just watching, but waiting. Shore encounter. A group of friends walking near the shore noticed something strange. Several light poles began flickering while the rest stayed perfectly fine. Then they saw her, a figure in white, standing near the waves, face hidden behind a curtain of hair. She didn't move. Hoping for answers, they called over a few nearby men. But as they approached, they stopped in their tracks. Her appearance was deeply unsettling, almost inhuman. Whispers spread that she could be a sea spirit, the ghost of someone who drowned and now lingers by the shore. That thought alone was enough for the friends to turn and leave, without daring to look back. Open discussion. This picture and video were taken on the 27th of July, 2024, in Durham, North Carolina, showing a distressed-looking man who randomly entered a diner. It stood by the order reception for several minutes, along with its eyes that were completely white. The staff attempted to talk to the man, but he was completely unresponsive. According to the recording bystander, it almost seemed like the man was under the influence of a devil or a demon. However, the exact nature or details of this man are open to debate. Feel free to share your opinion in the comments section.